All right, welcome to the World Without Heroes 8. I'm joined by my very special guest.
Hello.
He was sleeping all day.
I wasn't.
He was passed out like a sour trout.
I was not.
Anyways, this morning I got a very interesting message from a lady on Instagram, which is slowly becoming my third or fourth least favorite website after Twitter and Piscord, of course, and WikiPiss. Let's not forget about them. There is a fan film that is currently in development for a franchise that I'm not going to specify, but because it's not the central point of what I'm talking about. Somebody took the main actress's, or I guess one of the main actress's pictures and put it on top of some, it's not, I don't want to call it a meme, but it's like an edited picture. And it's like, it says some of the effect of, I would subscribe to her OnlyFans. Now, for those of you who are not aware, Only Trash is a website where people, can subscribe to you for some purpose that is. Second, let me make sure. Anyways, Only Trash is a website. Let me go back to this. Only Trash is a website where people can post stuff that only their fans, as the term is used subjectively, are allowed to see. So this guy takes her picture, this actress from this fan film for this series, and says that he would subscribe to her OnlyFans if she had one. She doesn't actually have one, by the way. That's just a little thing he was saying to indicate how hot he thought she was. Now, a lot of people post stuff like this for big time actresses, like just throw some names out there, like Scarlett, for example. And usually what ends up happening is in the comment section of a lot of guys are going, yeah, man, me too. She's so hot. Oh, yeah. But instead, what happened, because this actress is, like in a fan film where I guess the crew kind of sees each other as family, they catch wind of his post and all swarm and they're like, how dare you objectify and sexualize her? What a sick pervert you are. And this person explained to me what happened, because I don't keep up with that actress. I don't keep up with any actors pretty much except for a couple, but still it's very limited. And when I was thinking about it, because with this person, right, they were talking about how them and these other people were being called simps. And by the way, I don't really like that word when it's used to describe a woman towards defending another woman, because it's supposed to mean men that are defending a woman for the hope of having some kind of relationship with her. So, I don't like it being used. And really, I mean, just in general, I don't like a lot of those terms, because people just call, it's just name calling. Nobody actually explains why what someone did is wrong. I said that I have different views from this person because they're talking about how gross it is to sexualize someone. And they say, what do you mean different views? This is sexualizing a person, which is wrong, and we shouldn't joke about it. The cast of the movie called that idiot out, and it scared him off for a little bit, but he still thinks it's a joke. We don't joke about this stuff like ever. She's a human being, and thinking that just because she's pretty makes her fit to post nudes on OnlyFans is wrong and disturbing. So this is kind of like what I think when a lot of chicks don't understand when it comes to the way men are. I guess this is like, just play devil's advocate here. Let's pretend in an alternate reality, right? This person that got lambasted for saying that he would subscribe to her on OnlyFans if she had one, hypothetically. Let's say that he said, oh man, this woman is ugly. I would never go on her account. I guarantee you all these same people would go, how dare you talk about the way she looks? She's a human being. And how could you degrade her over her appearance? You're disgusting, and you're probably an I word, because they love using that word whenever a man speaks disparagingly of a woman. So you get the idea of how if he were to call her something that indicated he thought she was unattractive, it would be bad. And then he says something that indicates he finds her highly attractive, it's also bad. Because if somebody said they would, if a woman said she would subscribe to me on that stupid website, uh, I guess I would like that more than someone saying I'm unattractive, because that's been written to death on here at this point. But I thought it was really interesting because usually I can see people's points, like I can kind of agree with them and accept it. And I don't like the idea of someone taking a person's picture and like sticking it on some edited photo. Like that just seems weird to me. But the acting industry, especially for women, is very much hinged rather on their sexuality. Generally speaking, the reason you don't see a lot of actresses after like 40, 50, like appearing in movies that often, they still might show up in TV shows, but just getting steady work in films, is because they're considered to not be as physically attractive as younger chicks by that point, which I don't like, because I think there are a lot of talented actresses, but you get the idea that like that stuff reinforces the position of sexuality and physical appearance and attractiveness being the main things that make for an actress being successful. With talent also playing a role, but there are a lot of pretty chicks that people say can't act. Um, so that's why I was kind of laughing a little bit at that outrage, and like, that's not the first person I've seen, write something like that and say, "How dare these people be attracted to this woman and talk about how attractive they think she is in such a degrading way." And like, but people always do that online. When they don't like something, they speak about it usually, or if they like or dislike something in terms that are, I guess, not of proper etiquette. Like, look at this hot piece of meat over there. A lot of men do that. And again, it's like, you're in an industry, which is acting, where a lot of success is hinged on if a large number of people, a plurality, find you physically attractive. Again, if it was any other career path, like let's say she was a senator, right? Because they do sometimes attack politicians over the way they look. I don't like that, because it doesn't have to do with the policies they implement. But if she was a senator or a congressman or some other elected office, you go with the idea that in those positions, I would be a lot more upset over someone speaking, or I could have a much easier time empathizing with people getting as angry as they did over his comments. But the acting industry, especially for women, puts a lot of stock into physical attractiveness. Like I said, a lot of this stuff doesn't really hit across the same way, because I don't know, maybe it's just a bunch of chicks or like online, and they're, what's a good way of saying it? They don't understand what it's like to be a man. That's probably the reason that's the case. And it's crazy too, because you'll have people who say, "I can't believe you would support or defend," and you'll say, "I literally am not supporting or defending it. I'm simply saying he's referring to this lady as being so hot that he wants to see her not wearing anything." And I know that people would get mad at him if he said she was ugly. So if he talks about how hot he thinks she is, it's wrong. And if he would talk about how ugly he thought she was in the hypothetical, it would also be incorrect. She's a human being. Told you, man, chicks always have like just ardent defenders. And I guess maybe with me, it goes back to that whole thing of how I've shown screenshots of people attacking me over the way I look. And like not having a bunch of people on Instagram or any of these other websites going, "How could you say this about Justin? What a sick thing." And like, it's just hard to be sympathetic to these people, because she's being called physically attractive, and they're like, in a way that I can see kind of like not being the most, like being very crass, right? "Oh, I want to see this person nude," but it's like, Again, if someone called her ugly, they would get mad at that too. And she's in an industry where physical attractiveness plays an extremely important role. That person responded to me at 7 in the morning. I was asleep. I had my phone right next to me. It didn't buzz or ring at all. I just saw that paragraph waiting for me. I was like, let me read this. She's a human being. And thinking that just because she's pretty makes her fit to post nudes on OnlyFans is wrong and disturbing. Well, people when they go and subscribe to somebody on there, it's someone that they think is pretty. Don't sexualize our cast. It's like you didn't cast this lady because you thought she was ugly. It's like I don't know, man. That's why I said a lot of times it really does feel like being a man. There's like subconscious, and again, you'll never get people to outright say it, but there's like a little subtle implication that being straight is like a bad thing. It's something that you should feel ashamed of. He said that he thought this woman was hot and that he would subscribe to her on this account. Ugh. And again, he could have phrased it better and actually, I guess come across more respectful. But like I said, it's the internet. And when you're doing some fan project that's getting like thousands of people to be interested in it, you have to expect some people are going to respond to it in a way that is not what's the way like the way you would like. You know, it's just really weird. So angry over sexualizing our cast. We cast this very attractive woman because we thought she had great acting skills. Her physical appearance had nothing to do with it. Nah, they kill me with that. Well, I guess we're gonna have a short stream today. We don't have anybody writing anything. I mean, it's cool. I know that some people expected me at like 10, so maybe that's the reason. I just thought this was a really funny encounter because it was like a lot of times I'm on those websites. I try not to pick fights, you know. But the person just like she sounded so angry at that's why I said that a lot of times it's hard for me to really feel bad about this stuff because even if you say you don't support it, even if you say I don't like this is bad, a lot of times the implication is there that um, because you're not strictly taking the position of someone else, you're in favor of it. We talked about a certain wrestler that you did a crime with their family. It's like, well, I said I don't support what he did, but I like this person as a wrestler. It's like, so okay, then whatever you want to believe. You see how you say you don't support it, but if you don't take the position that is completely the same as someone else, you might as well be doing it yourself. Like she was talking to me like I posted it. And I think I mentioned I don't sit here and gush about how attractive chicks are anywhere. Like again, there are broads I find very attractive, but usually I don't say anything because um, I don't want to inflate anybody's ego. Which, by the way, I was going to do a whole video about like why that was something that I think has helped me more than hurt me because there's a YouTube commentator that about 2 weeks ago, a little bit over a week ago, got accused by his former employee, our former coworker, of having like made some kind of pass towards her when they were in each other's company, and it was like the comment that he made. I just think is like so tame And like this goes back to how I don't feel comfortable around a lot of these chicks. There's too many chances for the smallest or tiniest things to be this big slip up. Like, and again, I'll go into it in the video, but it's just a matter of people getting upset if you say someone is hot or physically attractive or compliment them in any way that has to do with their appearance. And if you say someone is ugly, then they'll get upset, which I think makes more sense because you're insulting somebody in that case. But it's like they take a compliment like it's an insult too. Don't sexualize our cast. Actresses don't get picked because people find them to be attractive. They get picked because of their talent. That's why when they get to be 40 and 50 and 60, you see them in just as many movies, right? I actually do have so Amy Steele is the name of this actress. She was a main character in or the main character of Friday the 13th Part 2, and then she was supposed to come back for the third one, and then her stupid manager or agent told her. And see, that's why I don't like, you know, a lot of times people say you should surround yourself with others, like because you might get an idea based off of what they have to say. But I think a lot of times when you get other people involved in stuff, it can hurt you. And this was a good example of how she was the main character of Friday the 13th Part 2. And then they wanted her back for the third one as the main character again. And then her agents were like, no, don't do that because then you'll get typecast in horror movies. And now she regrets it 30 something years later, not being willing to come back and play the lead role in that sequel. So there's an interview she did about maybe 5, 6 years ago, possibly a little bit before that, or after that, where she mentioned that one of the reasons she stopped acting is because as you get older, you get less and less roles. So I have literal proof that as chicks get older and less people find them attractive, they get cast in less stuff, which I don't like because I think there are a lot of talented actresses out there who, on the basis of age or like lack of physical attractiveness compared to other chicks, don't get cast in enough stuff or as often as they should be, which again really sucks. But I'm not saying that to rub it in their face because I think it's wrong. I'm saying it because the industry of acting, especially professional acting, right, where people are casting individuals and all these role sheets and whatnot, is entirely hinged on being found physically attractive with your acting ability playing a small role, if none whatsoever, because they've cast people to act in things that have never acted before. Don't sexualize our cast. Grow up. It's like I don't know what industry you're talking about, but you didn't pick that lady for that movie because you saw her on stage and she gave this Oscar-winning performance. It's like, no, you thought she was hot. There's another person on there, and she was like, I can't believe people are photoshopping. It's I'm not going to say her name, but it's somebody that's much more famous than this one I was talking about for the first 10 or so minutes. It's just like, it's so disrespectful and you're sexualizing her if you put her head on top of and I'm just thinking to myself, it's like she's in all these movies because people find her attractive. It's like nobody makes her put on skimpy clothing. She does it to herself. I don't know where this came from. Like, and I guess maybe that's why I felt like doing it, talking about this week, because when I saw that one comment a week or two ago, I was like, okay, that's just somebody being weird, trying to gatekeep and tell you how to find someone attractive. But now it's like I'm seeing other people saying the same thing. You can't sexualize this person. That's wrong. They're a human being. I'm like, they're an attractive human being. And when men online find somebody to be hot or pretty or whatever term you want to use, they're going to call her whatever terms they'd like. And because, again, it's on the computer and not everybody on here likes to speak in an eloquent manner and talk with a debonair demeanor, you're probably going to see some people writing some stuff that's pretty profane, crass, just have to get used to it. Again, I'd rather be told I was hot than ugly. Like, I don't, that's why I said it's such a, they really are punishing people for calling somebody attractive. Like, you don't take this seriously. It's like, no, I don't. I don't. Not at all. Poor woman being told how hot she is online in terms that she might not like. And it's weird too, because there are some actors, like male actors, that have chicks doing that. Like there was one chick who put that she was this one actor's boyfriend, and it was like really weird because like to where people on her account started actually thinking she was the girlfriend of this actor who's like 20 plus years older than her. And to where she had to come on and clarify. No, they really love sitting there doing the gatekeeping. They're like, don't you dare call this person attractive in that manner. And if you don't agree with them entirely, they get mad at you and make you seem like you're the person who wrote it. Like I said, on all of those different websites, I don't post any pictures of chicks talking to, oh my God, look at how hot she, because they have enough people doing that. So you would never catch me doing something like that. I'm just saying when somebody else does it, I don't really see the problem with it. It really is sad about Amy Steele because she could have been a really good main protagonist for Friday the 13th. Like I don't know if they would have kept it going after part three if they had done it the way they wanted to with her. But it would have been nice to like see a returning actor just throughout those films instead of just different characters every movie other than the main villain. So you can thank her stupid agent for that. There's always somebody that like nudges a person in the wrong direction. Look at the Manson family. I'm laying so far on the couch, I get my feet on the floor. Like the like actual like crouching position, like half sitting on the couch, half foot pressed against the ground. It's really incredible. Yeah, we really went almost a whole 25 minutes, no comments. 8 people watching. Nobody wants to write anything. I guess they've been distributing duct tape. That only works for if somebody's talking. I guess they've been, I don't know, destroying keyboards so nobody can type anything anymore. You found this woman attractive and you're sexualizing her. Nice to have made it to the 8th installment of the World Without Heroes stream. Yeah, the second part of the third trilogy. Hell, nobody can be a hero after all this nitpicking that they do. You said this. Literally just got here. Strange. Nobody has posted anything. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with people. It seems like a lot of times I'll do a video or something like, oh man, this is gonna be so cool. People are gonna write comments, and then nobody writes anything. Like I remember when I did the I've been criticized for everything video, which got I think over 100 views. Like, oh, those are some nice views, but can people write something? And then I had the one broad that came on my thing talk about, if you're always disappointed, why'd you even bother making it? I was like, I'm not even disappointed in my video, you dingbat. I wanted people to write something. Excuse me for trying to get somebody's perspective. God damn. Like they always find a way to like make it, something that having to do with you. Like, pardon me for wanting to see what people have to say about a video. Won't happen again. No, that was real crazy. I was so excited. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what people write. I didn't complain about the views, all right, because usually that's like one of the bigger issues I have with just stuff on here. It's like 100 plus usually is really good for me. So I was like, oh, can I see what people have to say? And then nobody wrote anything other than like two people. It's just a really unpredictable website. These are the same people who think the like button is just for display. Yeah, I told you about what that mod of mine used to say. Does hitting the like button even make a difference? It's like no, it's just, they just have the likes there so you can look at it and be like, I wonder how many people click this today. People can just be like, oh, look at me, I got 2,000 likes, I'm invincible. Like it literally boosts engagement. Hell, I had a video that got 1,000 views, and it was like mostly downvoted. But because those idiots kept giving me engagement, they gave it more views. I called them that because it's like they don't even respond to what you say in the video. It's just random mumbo jumbo. That wasn't a romance one, by the way, because with those it's always more likes than downvotes because people know how ridiculous chicks are. That's why I said like everybody knows how ridiculous chicks are. Like even if they think it's still possible to get with someone or whatever, they know how they do like weird stuff that doesn't make any sense. I actually went on one of the videos comment sections. I still had my email, and somebody wrote a really good comment, and I found out they'd been banned from the whole website. It's like, oh damn! I want to see if that person wrote anything else. He was like, maybe one day a woman will talk to me, and we can have a good discussion, and eventually make this become a relationship if she reciprocates. Like a normal human being. I'll never understand them. Yeah, it's completely strange. But what I was talking about was how on Instagram there's a fan film. It's not going to come out on there, but like there's a bunch of people for this fan movie for this comic book. I'm not going to say which one it is because I really do not like want to start problems with people. And one of the actresses uh, had some guy say that she was so hot he would like subscribe to her OnlyFans, and then this chick that I follow got so angry that she was like typing paragraphs to me that like to this morning, and I was like, I have different views from you, and I just said different views, and it was like enough to get all this different stuff written to me. It's like, look, I'm not agreeing with saying that someone is like good enough to because I don't even like those stupid naked websites anyway. But she was saying how wrong it is to sexualize this person, and even like one of the guys in the movie is like, "How dare he sexualize our cast?" I'm like, "Do you know what you're making? Like, you cast this lady because you thought she was hot, or you thought people would find her attractive." Like, and I was talking about how I have proof that there are actresses who talk about once they get past a certain age, which I don't support this, but once they get past a certain age, people don't pay them any attention. I'll catch the replay taking a nap. I've never seen that person before. Move around more, get less weird the further from home you go. Yeah, they love those Insta fixes. I tell you, I talked to one broad from Australia. She gave me the same result as one from the good old US of A, except even more dragged out with more plot twists. That's the craziest thing in the world. I've had the same number of chicks agree to marry me that I've had agree to go on a date. Like, that's so backwards. It actually was easier to find someone that was willing to say yes to getting married than to going on a date. I'm not even joking about that. I just made a video and she appeared on it and explained her religion, not allowing her to have dates, and then That was nuts. I could do a whole like movie about that, the marriage saga. A lot of today's media is built up around cancel culture, etc. It seems, right? But with me, I'm like, I get where someone doesn't want their friend to be talked about in like these really crass terms, but when they say, "How dare you sexualize our cast?" Like that's what movies and TV shows do. They find people that are considered attractive and cast them in something. It really does suck because there are some good actresses that like I think are going to get screwed over just because of how stupid Hollywood is with ages. Like you see men going into their 70s and 80s still appearing in movies every year, but abroad, once she gets to be like 40 something, you barely see her unless it's on TV. That's so sad. Don't sexualize our cast. It's like you know what you're making. They're gonna tell you how you should react to an attractive person. And they want you to feel bad for somebody that's being called attractive. Again, like if people aren't talking about this lady is ugly, I would get where her like supporters or friends on that film would, like make sense to act the way they are, but they're gonna get mad at somebody for saying they think she's hot enough to subscribe to on some naked website. What a sick thing. That's why I said the video, like being straight is a bad thing, has like a lot of merit to it. Oh, somebody's calling me. Let me give me 1 second. Sorry about that. That was my mother. Okay. Oh, I'm certainly looking forward to that video when it's released. Yeah, it's on the backlog. I'm trying to put out the one about the broad that was like trying to turn me into her puppet a week ago or 2 weeks ago. But for that, I got a little stuck on it because I'm trying to get all the screenshots and you cut the person's name out and all the rest of that stuff. Hollywood making a lot of money promoting objectification, so I don't see what's the big deal. Yeah, that's my point. That you're in an industry where one of the main strengths of how far you succeed is how many people think you're attractive. And then you're going to talk about don't objectify. It's like, are you joking? That's literally one of like the two or three main things an actor does. They're acting, so that takes some talent, but we all have opinions on who's a good actor and who isn't. Um, and then it also the other part of it, and I do it too, is how attractive people think you are. No, they just don't want to accept the truth. Like if you don't want to be objectified as a woman, the only career choices you have are pretty much anything that doesn't have to do with getting in front of a screen. Like you want to be a veterinarian or a doctor or a lawyer. There's a lot of professions you can take that don't require objectification, but acting is not one of them. I see some chicks on Instagram talking about they want to have some male actors' babies. So I'm like, you can't write that and then think that there's like safe people. when it comes to this profession. Like the more people who know you are, the higher the chance one is going to write something insane about you. It's just the nature of that profession. And again, the nasty thing they're writing isn't even nasty. Like Megumi, would you get more offended if I said you're ugly, or if I said you're so attractive that I want to go to your account where you are supposed to post revealing images of yourself usually? Like you probably would pick the latter. I mean, if that's the case, the fashion industry and porn industry shouldn't exist. Yeah, that's my point. That like, even if you're not taking your clothes off, you know, like a lot of those models, for example, right? People think they're attractive, and then they put all kind of like revealing stuff. It's not what you say; it's how you say it, my sir. Yeah, that's the point I was making earlier. That I don't support talking about someone being so attractive you want to see them on some website naked. But I was saying that when they talk about, oh my God, this is gross because this person is being sexualized, they sexualize themselves by entering an industry where a lot of your stock is based on how attractive people find you to be. Somebody always writes something where it's like, did you not hear what I said? Or did you like get the tail end of that? It's always that one person every stream. Every time. No, they love doing that. But yeah, for the video, I'm trying to find clips of people, and I might just grab screenshots of people like calling anyone they don't like who gets coins on the computer. This term I really hate because it's like just another buzzword they use. Yeah, but some people, specifically women, get offended when you mention anything about their looks. Right, but the majority of those posts were not from that woman that was being talked about. They were from other people getting offended for her. Like I didn't see her write anything back to that person. I saw one of the other actors get angry, and I saw this like fan of hers that's been talking. Which again, it goes back to this thing of like, really, the same person who gets mad at this guy for saying this thing about don't talk about her in this way is the same one who's been talking about how attractive she is for the last couple of months. I don't get how it's such a big deal when this is the nature of this line of work. Then again, there are a lot of oversensitive. There are a lot of oversensitive when it comes to this. The oversensitivity. Yeah. And again, they take things that would be normal and they like twist it. Like if you say somebody's attractive, usually that would be considered like a good thing, like a nice thing to say. Now it's bad. Like to know what I said exactly. I didn't say anything. I didn't talk about this lady. I was following this person that had post pictures of her, and then they posted was it a story about like what this guy said, and I said, what happened? And that's when they explained it, and I said, well, I don't support what this person did, but I have a different view from you. And then we got into an exchange. But you know, let's not get it twisted. I don't talk about the way chicks look on the computer. What I said exactly. I'm not on trial. I go and show every what is it? The account I have. I've never posted about that lady once, or any other actress, because I don't care. The closest I come is if I say happy birthday to somebody, and even that's rare. Women change their boundaries depending on the men they are around. There is no rule set. They apply to all men equally. A touch on the shoulder from one stranger is friendly, but from another, it's harassment. Yeah. Well, that's why I said that it just seems like doing anything toward them is generally not befitting of you. Like I've seen people who, if you compliment a chick, will get very angry at you. Um, if you touch one in a like a non-romantic way, like a shoulder tap or something, they'll say that's gross. Like the only thing I'll extend toward them is maybe a handshake, and even that is very rare. Because there's just too many stupid, allegations. I'm just tired of it. If you say your mom is hot, it's not the same as saying she's attractive, is all I'm saying. Right, but you're asking me what I said when I didn't. That's the point. I didn't say anything about her. I was reacting to someone else getting pissed over what this guy wrote with some little picture he created. A lot of people just don't have consistent principles. They change their boundaries based on what is socially expedient. Yeah, they like to they get mad if a certain person does it, and if somebody else does it, it's okay. No, I don't saw on that website posting all day like a lot of these other people do. He was like, I'd like to know what you said. So it was like, I didn't write anything. I've never said a word about it. A lot women don't really don't have consistency only when it comes to playing the excess of time wasting. Oh, I that there should be a video, but I don't know what to call it, where it's like, why do women who aren't interested in you do things that women who would be interested in you would do? Like, imagine giving someone your number. Like, you tell a woman you're attracted to her, and this did happen. You tell a woman you're attracted to her romantically. She gives you her number, and then you like message her later that night, and she mentions having a boyfriend. And you're like, what the hell? It's like, what? Like, you told this broad in your, I guess, opening statement, I am attracted to you. She writes her number down, and then you find out later that she has a boyfriend. So like, what? Man, they love those plot twists. Imagine imagine how insane I would look if a woman came up to me and said, "I find you attractive." I give her my number, and I'm like, "Oh, by the way, I have a girlfriend." What the hell was the point of giving me the number? Like that, no one thinks that's weird. And then we were talking about how there was this broad that because I had some person who was like, you should approach women in person too. Like, do you really think somebody just says, I find chicks attractive and they come online and that's how they really, but anyways, um, there was this one, I mentioned a story before. There was this one broad about 3 years ago that I met at the mall, and I asked her for a number and she gave me her Facebook, and then I sent her a message on there. And she's like, I don't have time to talk to you. I need to go to work and go to school. I'm like, then what was the point of giving me your info? And then I had to this dingbat on Discord try to explain, like, look, whatever explanation you want to give, giving someone a way to contact you is indicative of wanting to speak to that person. Talk about, oh, she probably only did it because I did that sometimes to get a man to leave me alone if I was so. It's like, but think of how insane that is. I'm going to give this person information to contact me with later on because I want them to leave me alone. I'm going to give them a way to contact. That's like me saying, I don't want to ever see somebody again. And I'm like, here, let me give you my address. Stupid. Not really plot twist anymore though now, huh? Yeah, because it's so predictable. It's like with Dragon Ball, like, oh man, when it looked like Vegeta was going to win that first time and he didn't, it was so surprising. How about the second time? How about the third time? How about the fifth time? How about the eighth time? No. Don't ever contact me again. Set social media profiles on public. Yeah. Like, who does that? But that's why I said I don't know what title a video like that would have, because those are all things someone who is interested in you would do. Like when chicks do that thing of, well, we may have spoken for weeks or months, but I just wanted to be friends. Talking to someone in a one-on-one setting, week after week, month after month, is something you would do with a person you like, especially if they're of the opposite sex. I don't want to talk to the guy, gives the guy her contact information. Yeah, it does. Like, again, you'd have to be a madman to get logic out of that. That's like me saying, I'll never shop at this car dealership again. And then the next day I'm over there just like circling around the place. Again, they love doing stuff that's like like in the normal world, this is what chicks would do if they're interested in you. But because there's like a lot of them are just psychotic and weird and do strange things, you can't even take that seriously anymore. Told you, if you told me 4 or 5 years ago I would have a woman ask me on a date and then start reneging and I got you, I would have thought you were joking. Just stop asking for numbers and ask for a date. Well, I mean, if you ask for a date and she says yes, how are you supposed to contact her if you don't have her number? Tie her up? Like, what? And hell, you would think it'd be a lot easier to get a number than a date, right? Because we're told chicks are very selective about their partners. Well, they sure as hell aren't selective about who they talk to. Like in the video I was going to do on all the chicks' different options, I was going to show a screenshot from this one broad where she mentioned that she had too many messages to handle from the different men that respond to her on Reddit. And I'm like, this is why I don't feel sorry for chicks, because you'll have some of them who will talk about, oh my God, all these men are messaging me. But then she's actively encouraging that by responding to all of these different men. What happened to getting to know a person? Oh, we don't have that anymore. We just, you have to talk to someone for 8 months and then hope and pray and get some holy water that they're going to like you back. And if it doesn't happen, you have to start all over again and just rinse and repeat this process until you die. Or until you become rich, and then all these chicks that definitely like you for your personality are going to suddenly be attracted to you. Or if you go to the gym, because all these chicks that like you for your personality are going to come and be attracted to you. Ask her for her time by... Huh? Ask her for her time by Sir. There's a book called Time by a guy named Sir. Please rewrite that sentence. I don't know what you're saying. What do you mean ask her for her time? You usually just say, excuse me, and then you'll ask for a number. And then if she says yes, she'll give it. And then if she says no, then you keep moving. Like, what do you mean? Exactly why I won't have sympathy for these chicks who play the victim card. I'm telling you, I have that screenshot. It's going to be in the video. That's the best thing about like having the opposition I have. I got all these screenshots showing where somebody wrote this and they did this. They put themselves in those situations. Yeah, nobody makes them sign. Dude, you ever heard of a job that was like, if you're gonna work for us, you have to go on Reddit and post a bunch of stuff and get men's attention. And then when they message you, you can't just ignore or block them. You have to talk to them too. I've never seen a job that like made someone go on social media and talk to all these different men. Asking for a number without purpose is dead. What? The purpose of getting the number is to talk to the person. It's like I'm getting the number to collect it. Like these are Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I got the blue-eyed dragon. You probably might get a chick's number. She probably won't respond, but she'll ghost you. Oh, they love doing that. I remember this one broad. So that's what I hate about like some of these things. You just have to take my word for it. That I spoke to for like 20 or 30 minutes and she was laughing and all the rest of that. So I'm like, oh, let's talk later this week. Been 3 years, never heard from that broad again. And you're like, hello. And you're like, all right, well, what the hell with you? Yeah, what's the point? Dude, isn't that like the prevailing question when you talk to broads? Like, so many of them will speak to you and just like not be interested, but to just keep talking to you over and over. And you're like, what's the point? Like, what was the point of talking to this man for weeks or months that you're not interested in? Who, when he asks you on a date, you're going to act surprised by and then offended enough to like, oh, I don't think we should speak anymore. Or try to get him to give you what you want, but while denying him what he wants. Because that's fairness. That's totally appealing for you. Attention is currency. Yeah, they do love attention. Somebody said that chicks are Android 19 and 20. They like when you talk to them, they have that, you know, that little pink that circle. They grab you and then they get your energy. How did 19's voice sound? No, I will get your energy. Why they want to waste all of their orbiters' time? Hey, this is a gender swap version of ROM 1/2, where just every old random broad has like 10 or 15 different suitors. And I'm like, this broad is like, she's nothing. Nobody's ever heard, you know, I even said in the video, if Scarlett Johansson had 20, 30, 40, 50 men trying to talk to her, I wouldn't bat an eye. That would be normal to me because that's a woman who has accomplished great accolades. If Rihanna had 20, 30, 60 men trying to talk to her, wouldn't hear a peep out of me. Woman who has accomplished great accolades. But these are just regular old broads that aren't worth a can of sardines in most cases, but for some reason deserve all these men talking to them. Really? And like I said, Reddit's the worst site for that because, as I mentioned before, there was a woman who didn't even show what she looked like, had 50 men slobbering to talk to her. God. This is like saying you'll never eat at Burger King again and going back to Burger King to sit there so you can remind yourself how much you hate Burger King. Well, you know, that's got a loophole because even if you sit there, you don't necessarily have to eat there again. You're just like, you said you'll never eat there again, but you're back there a second time. It'd be like saying you're not going to eat at Burger King ever again, but then you're ordering a Whopper. And then when nobody's looking, you take a bite out of it. And they keep turning around and take another bite out of it. It's like, how the hell is it, if you're not eating this burger, why are there all these bites in it? Is there some ghost? Oh my God. Yeah, that person is saying they're not upset with me. You shouldn't be upset. I didn't do anything to you. Who is this Chet person? I feel like he's some individual that probably showed up a long time ago, and I might have maybe forgotten his name, but it's just like these. I feel like there's someone who did something kind of like the like weird um, confrontation type thing that feels familiar. That's the most disturbing part about this. So I said something is wrong with people. Like, who does that? I don't think I'll ever forget about that case. Which case? What? Yeah, you're gonna have to say what it is because I don't remember. And I want to speculate. I don't want to give any of these monsters free advertising. If you're talking about that chick that asked me on a date and then did the backflip, I'll never forget that either. I'll be talking about that thing for another 30 years because that's how insane that was. You don't dangle a carrot in front of somebody's face. No, you don't dangle a carrot in front of a rabbit's face, and then when they try to bite it, you're like, ah, just kidding. Oh, one woman, 50. Yeah. Um, and like I said, I give those examples because those are actual chicks who have accomplished something of high noteworthiness as to justify receiving large amounts of men that are romantically interested in them. But most of these broads are no different from you and I. They're not wealthy, they're not famous. And really, the only advantage they have over a man is that they're just having an easier time getting a partner. No, never met you. Well, I didn't say we met. I just said that the name seemed familiar. Yeah, that was really disturbing. And I still, it's it's um it's one of those things where I feel like if I don't show screenshots of it, people don't believe it because it sounds so ridiculous. And that's the main reason I do the edited videos because a lot of this stuff, if I just say it out loud, it sounds like something a person wrote or like a story that was created. A hell of a lot much easier time of getting a partner for sure. Right, but what I was saying is it's even stranger when you consider that these are not chicks who I would make any reason to say deserve the attention that they get. You know, like these aren't supermodels. You're not going to see their picture in Playboy or Vogue or any of those other sources. Like it's that's why it's weird to see them get all this attention. And it doesn't make any sense. That's why I gave the examples of the famous chicks where if they get a lot of attention, that makes sense to me. But regular chicks are getting attention that rivals celebrities. It's really crazy. You are soft, what? I know that's the most insane aspect about all this. Just a random chick who didn't even post a picture of herself either. Like, wow. And that's what kills me but it's like, even if she had posted a picture of herself, it still would be screwed up. It's just made even worse because a lot of times when a woman has loads and loads of men swarming her, it's because they see what she looks like and they all think she's so hot and attractive and, blah, 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 blah. This is a broad that, for all they know, could, you know what I'm saying? It's just it's strange. Like that's why I said this stuff will drive any normal man insane. Because I really be sitting there just like, what the hell is going on? But again, people put a high premium on just regular average chicks. I don't say averages in the way they look. I'm talking about just no one knows who they are. They don't own anything. They're not, athletic. But for some reason, you have to become all of those things to just maybe have a chance with one of them. Like just imagine wanting a date, and people tell you to get a date where you sit across from somebody for an hour or two at a movie or a restaurant, wherever you want to go. Could be done one time and never again. You're gonna have to go to the gym for months and develop some kind of body that most people don't even have. You're gonna have to achieve some excess of wealth that again most people don't even have. You're going to have to become famous, which again most people are not. You would look at that and say that's really weird. That's kind of not necessary. And if it is necessary, then there's something wrong with that imbalance. This guy says it's easier to get into the WWE than to get than to get a date. It's like hell, I believe it. Vince would definitely be a lot easier to appeal to niche chicks. You show up there and you can throw somebody around, and oh, yeah, I definitely think that would be easier to do. No, there's somebody should make a video of like all the things it would be easier to do than get a date. Like it's easier to go skydiving. Oh, Banana Merchant's comment got withheld. Women date dudes who are complete nobodies. Bozos I've never heard of, so I'm not going to believe you need to be famous to get a woman. Yeah, that's all stupid stuff, man. Like I said, the numbers don't bear that out because most people are not famous. That's a fact. So you know, it's just another one of those like extremes people want you to go to. And like I said, if you told me I had to become famous to go on a date with Rihanna, that would make sense to me, but not for some broad that nobody ever heard of. Have status. Like, what the hell does that even mean? Just like on James' video, that woman talking about she became involved in her community and now she's with. It's like, okay, but what? So everybody has to get involved with their community, whatever that means, to get a date. Because you know that doesn't have a defined meaning, right? Like we can assume what she's saying is positive, but hell, I could be selling a drug on the street corner and I would be getting involved in my community. You just have to look famous, yeah. What about social circles? Like I said, man, there's something wrong with like having to go through all these other people just to go on a date. That's really nuts. And again, people have normalized a lot of this ridiculousness. I'm watching a video by a guy where he's talking about to get a date, you need, like in the same video where he admits he knew guys in high school that had girlfriends, which would mean you don't have to be the best ever version of yourself to get a date. That would automatically mean that, because if you know, we can infer that's not the best they were ever going to be. But then in the same video, it's like if you want to get a girlfriend, you have to do shadow work. Yeah, you have to make sure you work on yourself. Yeah. What the hell? A lot of nebulous terms. Shadow work. Hey, what's that one jutsu that Shikamaru can do where he like puts his hands together? No, I'm talking about the one where he like catches, like he gets somebody's shadow. That's it. That's your shadow work. You can make a bra go on a date with you. Just learn that jutsu. Damn, they always have some weird terms they use. Like when I use terms like excessive time wasting, I explain what that is because I know that people probably are like, "What do you mean by that?" No, we really like the mind over matter thing. Um, there should be like a whole video explaining how you know like believing in yourself is good for morale, but it can't make other people do things for you. But again, a lot of people don't want to accept that because you know then you actually have to say that some of the blame lies on the women. But you know we have a we could never criticize the chicks for anything. Shadow work. And I'm like, how does somebody that gets one, you get one girlfriend and now you're an expert on how to get another one? Like, really? That's like me winning one election. I'm like, okay, now I can tell you how to get elected. Knock on everybody's damn door. It's just like another commentator on here who's been divorced twice, and people go to him for romance advice. Not gonna say who that is. You get one, you can be a date. Yeah, that guy literally said he never had a girlfriend before a few months ago. So how do you have you've only ever dated one person and now you're gonna tell me how to get one? You're gonna give me the ins and the like, what is that? You know what's crazy? The guys I've seen in real life that have had multiple girlfriends, and they're usually like 40, 50, so they never were affected by the stupid social media stuff anyway. But most of them actually, like, they don't give advice. They just kind of, you know, they don't really see you. You won't see them on YouTube saying, "Hey, I know the ins and the outs, the tips and the tricks." Remember when getting a date was about liking somebody? No, we have to enact our strategic simulation. If you wear this, there'll be a 92% chance she'll say hello. I'm gonna make that video where it's like sound like a robot and have some computer noises in the background. Because there is a filter on my editor that has it to where you can make your voice sound robotic, but I'm just gonna like do it just naturally. Besides, you don't know if that relationship's gonna last. So after she dumps you, how long you gotta wait? Yeah. Well, that was the point I made about like why it shouldn't. It's very bad that it's this hard to get a date because every man I know that ended up with someone for a long time or got married, whatever, dated multiple chicks. And like, if it takes 10 years to get one broad, how long is it going to take to get a second or third one or fourth one? You see what I'm saying? That's why the guy that's with the dingbat with the baby puts up with so much because he was never with someone before her. And, you know, he's worried that if he doesn't stay with her until the end of time, he'll never get with somebody else. Telling you, like, a lot of guys are with these chicks are like put up with their stuff because they know it's not as easy for them as it is for these broads to bounce back after you know, getting out of a relationship with this stupid person. The blame lies mostly on the leaders. How can the man not blame himself for the woman getting this way? Yeah, they don't consider any of the nuances of when they tell people this stuff. When you finally find someone, you're going to be together forever. Told you, I've never, like, this is not a joke I made up. I asked my dad, I asked my grandpa, my friend asked his dad, and all of them said the same thing. For them to meet a woman they married or stayed with for a very long time, they had to date multiple people. So all this stuff about doing all this effort so that this one person will like you and you'll live happily ever after, I've never seen it executed. Just like, for example, I mentioned the first chick that rejected me when I was in 7th grade. I am not as upset over that as I was years ago because I don't think that would have, if it had been allowed to happen, lasted up until this point or, you know, past maybe like a year or two. But that's not because I'm negative. That's because I've never met someone who met a person they stayed with, you know, in middle school. So it's just you have to, when you live in the real world and you talk to people who aren't these clowns on the computer trying to feed you some stuff that is not true, you know, you get a lot more nuance and, you know, you can like draw conclusions based off of stuff that's played out with other people. Never gonna argue, have disagreements, or potentially have a breakup sometime down the line. Yeah, this person is perfect. That's why they say soulmate and the right one, all these other nebulous terms. It's like, I believe there are chicks you'll like. I don't know about soulmates are the right one. Like, hell, I have broads, they never even try to date you. They say, you're not the right one for me and I'm not right. It's like, how do you know that? You know, and it's like the same people who will defend chicks that will refuse to enter a relationship or try to start one on the premise of they probably won't like it are the same people who will call you negative and say you don't believe in yourself. But these bastards are the ones who are being negative by telling you something won't work before even trying it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't call me negative, but then somebody else is telling you this is not going to work. There's a lot of irony in like the chick stuff. Like when people say you're gay, but then a lot of these chicks I've spoken to, I can actually prove in the messages they write to me are gay. Like, you see how that's like a big reverse. Like, you accuse the man of being gay, but it's actually like multiple chicks that like both sides. You don't get where that's ironic? Oh, the irony is uncanny. The same chick's in a relationship 1 or 2 years later and then bounce to another guy. Yeah, it never stops. Told you about the broads that have these kids with these men they never married. I've never, like with that broad I mentioned in the stream, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I have never seen before someone date a man, have his kid, then get with another man for like a year or two, then have his like in within a span of like less than 6 years. It was the craziest thing in the world. Because I know people who, for example, will have kids by another person. Maybe they're not married to, but then they'll marry somebody else, and then that, if they have another kid, it'll be with someone who is now their husband or wife. Twice, just boyfriends, just have kid with them, just whatever. They never learn. I never thought it'd be easier for somebody to have a kid than have a husband. Like, you'll carry something inside of you for 9 months, but you won't get somebody to put a ring on your finger, which would take less than a few weeks, if a day. Because I mentioned like how much it costs to just go to like a courthouse and get whatever. So it's sad. It's just so strange. Like I don't get people at all. They do things that don't make sense to me. And I just can't see a scenario where I have a kid with a woman that's not my wife. Like I don't understand how, again, if you just sit there and think about it, it makes less sense. Because with marriages, you can get them annulled. You can divorce the person. You can have a prenuptial agreement so they don't take half your stuff. You can't erase a kid once it's born. Like that's why it's so strange that they took the thing that should be more difficult and then made the thing that's much more simpler more difficult. What's wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Maurice says exactly. Seriously, I like, if you when you just sit there and think about this stuff, it sounds even more insane. And I have more records to prove that there's higher rates of people having kids that aren't married. Like I have data I was going to show in the video. And you have people who have every defense in the world. Maybe women don't want to be married. It's like, I don't believe that. Just people, they always have a way of like rationalizing every ridiculous thing you can think of. It's so sad. It's like, yeah, this woman definitely wanted to have kids with two different men that are not her husband when she was a little girl. That's what she dreamed of doing. Yeah, I believe that. I remember this one time my mother was going to this wedding, and I was like, "You're going to a wedding between people that like that are that I was like, "That's like seeing a unicorn." I mean, a lot of them say they're independent, so why would they get married for? Well, even if I were to say I'm independent, I would not say that my kid does not need its mother. And again, if they were so independent and didn't need a man, they wouldn't have boyfriends. These kids wouldn't exist because they wouldn't have romantic relationships with men. They wouldn't care. So people always demonize men like being attracted to chicks. Like they always try to find a way to like make it seem all sinister and nasty. But chicks are just as much into men as men are into them. And we know they are because when they get those messages from those guys on those websites, they talk to a whole bunch of them. Oh, it's not just the black ones. No, I stopped believing that race made a difference a long time ago. Other people have done worse. Yeah, I don't need to be told about this race group, and because if I do the race stuff, it's just gonna turn into, because it's about men having a difficult time getting a date, which I've seen other ethnic groups have the same problem with. And if you do the race thing, they're just gonna go, you probably are trying to say that Hispanic women are worse than white chicks. Like, no, I'm just whatever. So you get the idea. It's just gonna distract from the main point if I do that. Race has got nothing to. Yeah, Yeah, I've been fine with every color and every shade, and getting rejected over and over again is how my patience was repaid. No, I don't think it makes one iota of a difference. Your foot is by the charger. Move it a little bit. All right. Oh, you can hear me? No, your foot was about to hit the charger. Yeah, please don't bring ethnicity into this because that's all. Every time that gets involved, people start turning this into like a into some episode of like Fox News or something. They're like, this host is trying to say that one group is better. And it's like, no. I'll tell you, I had somebody who said I was racist because I would prefer if I dated somebody of my own ethnicity, even though I can prove that the majority of people of every ethnicity date people of their own ethnicity. How dare you have normal wants? He's not talking about his white friends, man. I don't even have any. Well, I don't want to sound screwed up. But I don't even have any white people I would consider my friend. Like I don't know any close enough to call friends. Like I have white people I speak to. I'm okay with. But and by the way, this isn't a thing about race because the majority of people that are in that like that I word group and going there, like all that stuff are whites. So how do you feel about that? Oh, it definitely is women in general, Brandon, because like I said, I met a guy from I've met men from other countries, like not met, but like spoken to them, and they say the same thing. No, they waste people's time like crazy. Yeah, if this turns into the ethnicity show, it's gonna just get caught up in stupid stuff. It's funny too because on my videos they have tried to make it about race, and I just ignore those comments. Don't want to start the whole going to another country on the premise of meeting some random chick. I hate that one too. But like I said, it all has to do with like lack of nuance on this topic with these insta fixes. Just get a passport, and when you go to this random country, there's going to be a woman, and she's going to want to date you and come back to the U.S. with you, and you're going to live happily ever after. And I'm just like, who the hell believes that? If like, think about how screwed up this is, right? You're saying the chicks in your country are all such pieces of garbage as far as like the premise of getting a date with them that you have to travel across the world to meet someone who might sit across from you at a restaurant or movie theater. Nobody thinks that's like wrong or that just doesn't sound right. I'm not judging anyone. That's all people do online is judge somebody. If I had a nickel for every time somebody said I was ugly or tried to like speculate about what I did or tried to say I was going to do this violent thing, I'd be able to buy a yacht. Because all people do online is judge and write nasty stuff and assume things. It's like, it's all really ridiculous and, doesn't help anybody. Another thing people online do is they like to be turncoats, but that's something everybody already knows. Uh, what was I gonna say? Especially when you're a straight guy. yeah, like that's why I said that I don't see this with other groups. Like I've seen women come online and talk about men in disparaging ways, and nobody says they're part of a group. Nobody says they're going to be violent. I've seen gay men speak disparagingly of other gay men. No one says they're going to do any of this violent stuff or that they're, part of some team. Just it's there's a lot of subtle hints that like being a straight man is a bad thing. That's why a lot of times if you message a woman online and you say hello to her, you saw what happened with that with I don't even want to say her nickname at this point, but it's like they'll accuse you of trying to flirt with them if you just have a dialogue with them and happen to be of the opposite sex. And again, I would never accuse somebody of trying to flirt with me if they're asking me about the damn news. Like, so I said, it's a waste of time talking to chicks. Who wants to be part of their reverse gender harem? Yeah, Piscord is that's the epicenter of it. Like on that website, if you ask somebody how they're doing, and you're like known to be a male, especially if it's like a private message, they will accuse you of trying to like flirt with them. And it's like I will literally show the messages. You just say, "How are you? Do you like this?" And it because again, I know what harassment looks like. If I said, "Hey, can you show me both of your watermelons?" Just something like that, right? I would get it. But just asking somebody what their interests are. Oh my God. What'd you think of this news story? Eh. Reverse gender harem couldn't be me. I don't know. I don't care how pretty or how nice they are. Yeah, they really like, and I that's the point of the video that I was going to show how a lot of them try to play the victimhood of, oh my God, all these men I don't like are interested in me, but they will sit there and talk to those men like, um, again, don't want to say her nickname around here, but I have the screenshots of the one chick I spoke to for however many months that was, and it's like you're apparently not interested in me, but you still spoke to me month after month. You still spent all that time in someone you weren't interested in, and you don't get why we call you a crazy person. I just don't think like I don't need female friends. That's just my opinion. I don't want any because all they do is like accuse you of trying to get with them, and then like it you'll see what I'm talking about if I end up doing that video on that thing that happened last week where you're gonna work with somebody for years and then 2 years after they leave and they say something bad about you on Twitter, you violated me. Like, when did this happen? How did he use his special powers to keep your mouth closed for this long? Especially if you're in a higher position of authority than him. They drain your energy, definitely. And it sucks too, because like, if you ask somebody, how are you doing, right? If somebody were to ask Euro, how's he doing? He's not going to think this is part of their master plan to get into him. Like, that's weird. But if you listen to some of these chicks, they sound just like one step away from being conspiracy theorists. Imagine I DM Megumi. I say, hey, what do you think of this news story? Somebody, I don't know, blew up a building. He's like, oh my God, that's terrible. I'm like, yeah, man, this is dangerous. The next day, oh, do you like this show? And then he says, oh yeah, this show's really nice. And then the third day, he's like, I'm not looking for anything romantic. You'd be like, what? Neither was I. Damn. Just like the broad I was on Instagram talking to we were discussing movies, and then out of nowhere is going to ask me for a picture of myself. And then you find out later on that she has a boyfriend. So it's like, what was the point of it? You see, it's like all they do is like they'll accuse somebody of trying to get with them, But then a lot of times they do things that are indicative of someone that is trying to get with you. They're asking like all this personal information and for your photograph and stuff. Can't even just have a normal dialogue with them. Yeah. I have this one account on Instagram where like it's kind of ambiguous as to like what it is, and this person was like, this broad is there like I am curious about your gender. I'm like, why do you need to know if I'm a male? Are we gonna go on a date? Like they ask a lot of stuff that I would never bring myself to ask because it would be seen as trying to get with someone. Like it's funny that like they make all these accusations, like they're projecting onto you what they are, which are these like people who want to have this like erotic subtext to every person they speak to. Did you ask her what her intentions were? What if she wanted a person to talk to every day and that's it? Well, she can talk to her boyfriend every day. If he's good enough to date, he's good enough to speak to daily. Like, imagine how insane I would look if I'm married or I have a girlfriend. Like, well, I need this other woman to speak to me every day. That makes sense. Have to state your intentions immediately these days. Well, hell, what are their intentions when they ask you for a picture of yourself? Now they can talk to these men that they're. Remember, the men that get with chicks are the good ones, right? They're the world's finest men, so they can talk to the world's finest men instead of me. I don't talk to chicks with boyfriends. After I find out they have one, that's it. The only time a broad was ever able to get away with that was back in like 2015 or 2015. There was a broad I met on Reddit, but that was because she told me before we even started speaking that she had one. Uh, and like I said, that was back in the era or back in the day when I didn't think it was like ridiculously impossibly hard to get a date. So that was a nice dialogue. Without something like that will never happen again. When you do, they can flip around and act like you're doing something sinister to them. And that's why I really don't like speaking to them because they play victim so much. Like you come on this website that nobody forces you to come on. And then you like talk to all of these people that no one forces you to talk to. And then you go somewhere else like, oh my God, all these men were talking to me. Were you also talking to them? Well, yeah. For example, like you let the chick you'd want to go on a date with her, they act like you just had like they just had a breast cancer diagnosis. Dude, if you ever that's what I hate about not having every screenshot because of like changing phones and stuff. You will notice a complete shift in the way they talk to you versus like when you're doing the friend thing and then if you ask them on a date. It becomes so confrontational. Like they'll blow so much smoke up your behind when you're friends with them. Oh my God, I like you. Blah, blah, blah. You want to go on a date? I don't think we should speak anymore. Or I just want to be friends. It's like, well, go be friends with somebody else. There are how many billions of men you can talk to besides me? Go speak to one of them. Go waste his time. You need to bounce. What is this? Oh, he's moving the thing with his foot. You need to Yeah, you were moving it with your foot. You need to
Okay.
bounce if you ask someone a question and they overreact. I mean, I guess, but like, it's not me that's making it weird. They're the ones that are usually, like I just don't see. What did Gerd say on my video that only doing stuff with hookers loses novelty after a while? Only talking to chicks that have boyfriends or chicks that are single but don't want to get with you but will sit there and talk to you for weeks or months has lost its novelty. There's like no reason for me to do that. You know, usually it's them that just do like weird things to screw it up, like asking you for a picture of yourself. What's the purpose of us speaking? You know, they're usually the ones that like make it strange. Remember, you gotta do your shadow work to get her to like you. What does she have to do to appeal to you? I don't know. She's perfect as she is, but you gotta do the shadow work. I don't know what this nebulous term means that I'm saying, but I'm just gonna say it anyway, and I'm gonna get a whole bunch of likes because people like to click on videos and thumb them up for no reason. You gotta do that shadow work. Oh my god, it's like that's another one of those videos that just really depresses me because like people really go to that self-improvement stuff and it's like it's never gonna be enough. Like if you don't get with the broad, those people that told you have to do that stuff aren't gonna sing a new song about how insane these chicks are for turning down someone as good as you. They're gonna say you did something wrong. Like for example, my best friend goes to school, has a job, all that stuff, right? And I told him that if he were to go to the gym, let's say, and then like come on here and talk about getting rejected over and over, because again, muscles don't instantly mean every woman's gonna now find you attractive. People would just say, "Oh, you probably approached in a weird way," because they do that. They never give you the benefit of the doubt ever. Obviously, she has past issues with people, most likely men. Well, I don't need to be burdened by her issues, and I don't need my time wasted with someone that's not reciprocating. That's really that's too goofy for me. And I'm not a member of the Disney Channel, so I don't need to be around anyone goofy or Mickey or Donald or any of them. So we're gonna wrap this up. Or they say that yeah, well that's again, Brandon. It's self improvement stuff is literally designed to be this never ending goalpost that you cannot meet. It is a way for you as a man to be told that there is something wrong with you because you're not with a random broad, and to always have the blame placed on you. It's part of the ongoing romance crucifixion. Self improvement just means they're going to keep moving the goalposts. Yeah. First, you got to go to the gym. Then you got to become famous. Then you have to own a sports car. Then you have to go to school. Then just do every damn thing that we tell you. And then one day, Magic Woman will show up. Who cares if she doesn't own a pot to piss in and she's never been to the gym? You're going to take her in whatever state she's in because her at her worst is equal to you at your best. But remember, things are fair. This is the more fair era. This is equality. It's like, how could you say that you think it was better for men and women 30, 50? Because back then you didn't have to compete with 30 broads, or excuse me, with 30 guys for the same broad that don't even live anywhere near this broad. You know, my mother, for example, never had 5, 6, 7, 8 men talking to her at once, not because she's any worse looking than most of the chicks that have that on here today, but because computers weren't that advanced and these social media sites didn't exist. Oh, and she also wasn't like, you know, a psychopath that talks to a man she's not interested in for, you know, 2 or 3 months and then says, ah, just kidding. I heard my dad spoke for I think a month and then they were together. It's you don't need that, you know, like, you know, just this like never ending oasis of doing stuff to get with the woman is unnecessary. And again, the whole point of bringing up the hooker stuff is because I got accused of not offering solutions. But if you want to get banged or want to go on a date, I would totally recommend one of those over a regular broad because you just don't need your time wasted. So thanks for showing up. Thanks, Euro. Thanks, Megumi. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Banana Merch, even though you did disappear like 7 times. Uh, I'll do a stream again on Monday, probably about something different because I do have this topic I want to discuss. So see you later. Have a good day.